And some people of the church witnessed him in the parking lot cussing and, oh, this is juicy.
Today, going to do something a little bit different. Going to be reacting to some worship leader drama from around the world.
I'm posting this anonymously because it's a very difficult situation. And somebody here may know me. This will be a long, but please read this conundrum, and you just need to know what to do. I serve as the worship pastor, a woman at a church here in this situation. I've been fighting literal hell here. Oh no. There's a couple, they've been attending my church for 11 months. They serve on the tech side of the music. They abruptly just stopped coming to church, left a message and left the group chat. I sent the wife a text to ask her what was wrong. After leaving our worship group chat, a text that I still have telling me that they will not be coming back and won't be attending our church anymore. I asked why. The response was, I don't want to go down on this sinking ship. Well, fast forward 4 weeks later, they return. Ha! And since returning, I have been approached by others in the church who have told me that they are talking about me and also talking about my small children, yikes, and my worship team and my leadership. They've denied all of it. Oh, this is juicy. But the presents they have put off have made me step back and retreat from them. Not surprised, not your fault. These people never lift their hands in worship or respond, really. But the past 3 services, when I'm not leading a song, they will raise their hands, clap, and overtly express themselves. It's very disheartening and distracting looking out from the platform and seeing this. Ooh. They've only been attending for 11 months. Okay. It's not a compliment to the other person. It is strictly to insult me. I'm a non-confrontational person. Need to work on that. Confrontation is good. I'm such a peacemaker, and I have done nothing to these people. But since they've come back, I haven't really conversed with them or talked to them in a group setting. If they talk, I talk back. But I just have taken a step back from them. Well, the other night at a church planning night, the husband approached me, got in my face, and was telling me I better stop ignoring his wife and use the line, you're a worship pastor and you treat people this way. Some example you are. Stormed out, and some people of the church witnessed him in the parking lot cussing and causing a huge scene. My husband went to him and told him this mess needs to stop because he was ugly to me, and went to me without my husband present. And I saw the devil in this guy's eyes that night when he got in my face. Then he yelled and shouted at my husband and told him he isn't talking to him without the pastor. But he could have approached me alone, a woman on church staff at that. And that was okay to him. I've been so uncomfortable since. My pastor seemed to not want to take sides. Flag, red flag. And we are good friends, even if he's our pastor, very solid friendship. He does not want to call him out, sit him down, and say this is out of line, nothing. And I just feel like that means he isn't taking my side. Honestly, it's not even about taking sides. It's about what is right and what is wrong. Choosing to retreat or separate yourself from a person who has made it difficult, not ignoring or being mean or unchristlike. What should I do? The overt, it does sound like this couple's reaction is, Abe, it's pretty childish, but people are taking notice to it. However, you haven't alluded to any sense that they're causing other people to stumble. It seems like it's just really bothering you. You're in an unfair situation. This is ugly, but as a worship pastor and leader, and especially as a woman in this situation, you cannot be conflict averse. You have to be able to face a conflict and confront. From experience, I've learned that ignoring something can feel so disheartening to followers. Just blatant ignoring, especially from people whose pasts they come from a family that yells. Giving a blank stare is like the worst insult that you can give to somebody who's used to kind of duking it out. Unfair situation, definitely been wrong, but you're gonna have to learn to face this thing. Allow your husband to bat for you, even if it means he has to cause a little bit of a mess, and maybe it'll place your pastor friend to a place where he realizes he can't ignore it. Your passiveness may be giving him permission to ignore it. I have 2 members who show up infrequently. I have asked them in the past if they want to continue being on the team, and they both say yes. I send blocked out requests every month, and they may or may not respond. I have communicated from the very beginning
the expectations of the team, and the commitment expected. I've tracked this year. One led worship 3 times, the other 4 times. What's the best way to tell them they're no longer on the team? Edit to add. Yes, I will tell them what and why, but how? Email, text, face-to-face, handwritten letter. Oh man. What do they say? One guy just says, just tell them and why. This is the only right answer. People will be amazed at how many problems can be solved by communication. I would quit sending invites. Ooh, face-to-face, it's likely going to be uncomfortable, but I strongly believe face-to-face is the right way to go here. This is an email I send someone. Hey, team member, I hope you're doing well. I want to have a full conversation about your role on the worship team at the church name. We fully believe and encourage people to give God their time, talent, and treasure. For the last 3 times that you were scheduled, you were unable to participate in any of this Sunday morning services. This puts the band in an unfortunate spot. While we appreciate your dedication and passion for worship based on recent considerations regarding ability and to actively participate in the band, we've come to the painful yet prayerful decision that it's best for you to step down for the team at this time. We encourage you to continue to participate in worship and explore other ways to serve at the church name. Please understand this is not a forever decision. When you have the ability to put in more practice and the availability to actively participate in Sunday mornings, we'd love for you to jump back on and help the band continue to move forward. Ooh, I've had to kick people off our team, and it's not fun. I've seen phone calls, face-to-face encounters, texts. I've seen them all fail. And ultimately, it's because people are feeling like they're being rejected. And so regardless of how they're being let down, I've seen it not work very well. I will say in-person communication is always the best because they can see your heart. There's so much communication that's missed over text. But don't expect that it's just going to be happy regardless of how you do it. When you onboard musicians, is the communication clear? For me, now that I've had more experience, when I onboard musicians, I make it really clear. If you do not check your emails, that is how I schedule people. If you do not check your texts, that's how I ask people what their availability is. If they do not respond, I just tell them then you won't be scheduled. And then people who are new, who aren't used to checking their emails, for example, they get used to checking their emails. They get used to checking the app. So it might be something that you need to make sure you create clear communication from the beginning. They should be aware when they're not meeting expectations. Hey worshipers, just prepare yourself. This post is a bit of a read. I've also made it anonymous as certain people I know may see this, and having my name visible may exacerbate the situation. I recently left the church for various reasons I won't go into, but one of the reasons was pastoral change that have happened over the past 25 years, except for 2 pastors, most of whom have not lived on positive terms. So as you can understand, this is not a seasonal problem, but a generational one. This has led to one worship team member in particular relegating her service to only helping her husband when he leads worship, but declining on 100% of other invitations to serve when other worship leaders wish for her to be on. That doesn't seem like a bad thing to me. I have a lot of couples on my worship team. I only schedule them as a couple. Because then they're not having to take 2 cars to church, or they may have kids. And also I just really honor when they're a married couple leads worship together, so not crazy so far. She plays upright piano in a classical style, but is unwilling to learn other genres. That's a flag. She also has an amazing singing voice and has no problem singing for her work. She's the head of a department for a co-ed school, prep, primary, middle school, and high school. So she chooses to be very busy, is unwilling to exercise her gifts and talents in the church. She also takes her motorcycle for solo road trips most other Sundays when she's not on the team. She sounds awesome. She'll have this attitude of, oh, I'll serve if you need me, but then she wouldn't show up for any other services or team training days. When I was directing this worship team as her worship ministry leader, I encouraged them to learn and adapt to new styles of playing and leading, even going so far as to doubling up on instruments for those who are comfortable doing so, i.e. singing, timbering, layering pads and keys, etc. It was only a small church of about 60 members, so the decision made sense at the time. Meanwhile, this lady who clearly loves the Lord, great, consistently becomes more and more dated in her style playing because she would only serve with her husband who loves his hymns. God bless him. So when I graciously pulled her aside one Sunday morning after service to mention my concerns, I also thanked her for her years of faithful serving and exhorted her that I wish for this to continue. She then became defensive and said that she had her reasons for pulling back her efforts to serve, but she would not tell me what they were. I then told her, it's okay if you don't feel uncomfortable telling me the reasons. I don't want to know in over detail Anyway, but the expectation of serving on a worship team is that she would communicate with them at a basic level, that is responding to service requests or even just giving a react in the group chat and not consistently declining when she's rostered to serve for anyone other than her husband. I later found out that she reported me to her husband, who was a member of the church board. I would hope that if you have a serious conversation that you would then communicate that with your spouse. Doesn't sound like tattletelling yet, but he is a member of the church board. He shared it with them, and the pastor then accused me of having communications issues. I should try to be a little more kind on how I address people, even if I think that they need a correction. If you're gonna have a conversation like this, you better let your pastor know in advance. So then when the communication comes full circle, that he is actually aware of it. That has saved my butt more than once. I was nothing but respectful, albeit a little frustrated that this issue with this woman has persisted over the years, and she has no intent to be more flexible or adaptable to the team's needs. To be clear, when it comes to general conversation, she and I get along just fine. She just becomes defensive when it comes to her issues around the worship team. The reason for me saying this is it's been playing on my mind for a while. I don't believe I was a jerk in doing what I did. I just want everybody in the ministry to be on the same page. What would you have done if you're in my shoes? Thank you in advance. Listen, this is a tricky situation. What I've learned is, if you as a leader are in charge of setting the culture, if people don't want to attend your rehearsals or want to be part of the team outside of when they're scheduled, A, you have to set that as a clear expectation so then they know when they're not being scheduled, or B, you have to be okay with it. I think it's a little bit more on you if people aren't going to want to be part of the team. If you create a really exciting, spirit-led atmosphere, people want to join your team. People want to be there outside of when they're being scheduled. But I feel for you. One of the things I've done with older musicians who are stuck in an era, I would mix it up. If you lead worship and her husband leads this couple leads worship together, I would put yourself on the team with them so that in their songs, they're singing the hymns. And then in the maybe song 3 or 4, you're leading a contemporary song that you like or that you want the church to start singing. And so they're actually, there's a little bit of a middle ground. You're still reaching out to their experience and validating that. And yet they're also coming to the table and learning how to play your song. You will win massive brownie points if you even do one of their favorites, a hymn of theirs. The more you build trust, and the more they'll feel safe that they can be vulnerable and take risks. Solid. Having to say no to people who audition but aren't ready to play or sing can be really hurtful on the recipient's end and risky on the leadership end. Is there a place where we worship leaders can have candidates record themselves and send the recordings online for an anonymous third-party and objective critique by trained musical knowledgeable evaluators? Such a service could be really advantageous. My man, you just don't want to. If you're a leader, you need the boldness to have to say no to the people around you. You can defer that all you want, but if you don't have the boldness to say no, ultimately you're doing them a massive disservice. It may seem like it's hurtful on the recipient's end, but they need to hear it from you, and they need to know that you love them still. Well, that's hilarious. I'm scared for if this is how you approach your marriage, I'm scared. No judgment. I'm not quite sure how to approach this subject, but this group has offered me wisdom in the past, so I figured it was a good place to gain clarity. The past 3+ years, our worship team has been rebuilding after our worship leader and another team member suddenly left. It was pretty ugly, and it left our team devastated. I stepped into the role as worship director, although the position was never officially granted to me. Flags on top of flags.
It was more assumed since the pastors had started talking to me, had me start taking on scheduling, leading, teach, team communication, etc. Over the years, it's still the assumed responsibility. That's a story for another day. Give us the story. Over the past few months, I have been hearing from some team members concerning grumbling from other team members. Over the past few months, I have been hearing from some team members concerning grumblings from other team members. There's a few team members who think I'm a bit more cranky than others, but it's starting to filter outward, and there's a weird vibe that's happening. If you're using the word vibe, I'm assuming you're millennial or younger. I know this is a bit drastic, but I also feel like we need to take a short hiatus from having a worship team on Sundays and have a period of time for the team to reset and refocus. Wow, during that time, I think the leaders should meet together and reestablish team expectations, reorder roles, and unify the heart and focus on why they serve. I know it seems a bit drastic, but things are feeling a bit messy right now, and I don't see it getting any better. Has anyone done this type of reset before? How was it received? If you're not the official worship director, I don't think you actually have the authority to do this. And that by doing something like this, you will ultimately cement that you are the cranky guy, or you are the guy that, that people obviously might not trust you or feels, yeah. The biggest thing is your pastor needs to be the one making a decision like this. If you're going to be doing this and your pastor's like, why is there no worship team? You are feeling insecure that you're not as well liked. I feel like you're feeling the tension of you not quite understanding how you fit in, and the authority that you kind of have and kind of don't have. You might need to just focus on that, and bringing clarity to that could fix a lot of your problems.